And I think it's up to as far as 1956, which were very big years. Very big years. And I said, that's dumb. Put it on videotape. You know, why go 2-3 generations back as far as technology? Put it on videotape. And that's what I'm doing. In fact, I finished it. But I've got to go back and play these on videotape. In other words, I sit down at a desk and play these on a videotape player. Excuse me, an audio tape player. And then get the whole story.
And then, ladies, one day I mailed a tape cassette, you know, a little audio cassette, not a video cassette like this. And I mailed it to Providence, Rhode Island. And I came back in the afternoon, and I was lying down. I got a telephone call, and the man said on the other end, he says, "Are you Glendora Folsom?" And I says, "Yes." And he says, "Did you send a package to Providence, Rhode Island this morning?" And I said, "Yes." And he says, "Well, it's humming." To me, it was kind of funny, but to him, it wasn't. And so he says, "You get over here just as fast as you can." Well, I get over there, you know, and here's all these postal inspectors, you know, they all have guns on their hips and everything, you know. And they stood right by me and said, "You unwrap that." And sure enough, it was humming. What had happened was that the cassette, for some reason, that little player, you know, something hit that button and it started to roll. And can you imagine being in the post office and hearing all this foolish stuff coming out of the package?
I met Glendora when I was working at the public access TV station in Manhattan in 2006. I knew her mostly from the phone conversations we had before I met her face to face. She told me stories of early television and her days as a Porta-Pack pioneer. She was amazed by the ever-changing media technology and described in detail her efforts to keep up with it. I was amazed by her devotion to produce media in her later years. Glendora would tell me one joke per phone call and leave more on my voicemail when I could not answer. She sent me handwritten notes in the mail. One had her show details on the back of a photocopied image of a young Glendora with Bob Hope. I was intrigued. Glendora persistently invited me to her home upstate, which she called the Happy House, to eat a vegan lunch and to chat about public access TV. After several months, I took her up on the offer.
There's nobody else like you, and you want to know why? Because God's running a complicated universe, and there are jobs to do, and God needs those jobs to be done, and He made you with a special set of talents to do that one job that nobody else can do. So at 22 or earlier if you can, sit down and listen and say, what did you create me to do? I did that, I did it sincerely. The answer kept coming up, television. This was in 1952 or 3 when television was everything. People didn't go to the bathroom because they were watching television. They waited until the commercial. And all these aerials sprung up on houses and made the whole landscape look funny. You know? And it's a waiting room, and the nervous new father said to the man next to him, "Here, have a..." No, this is the thing I want you to see. This school has begun, okay?
Okay.
School has begun. Hello, everybody. It's raining cats and dogs. How do I know? I just stepped into a poodle. I have announcements, and I will help you with your announcement. Do you have anything you want people to know? I'll help every way I can with your announcements. It takes me about a month, though, to get them on the tube. I have an announcement. I would like to start by reading to you the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. The First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble the castle or the fortress of moved from New Hampshire. I told the kids that the SS stood for steamship, and they said, no, it stands for stupid show. Milton Bradley became the sponsor of the SS Glendora. The people who were behind Captain Kangaroo got in and tried to talk Milton Bradley out of dropping me and sponsoring Captain Kangaroo. That was not nice, was it? Well, somehow or other, this advertising agency in Hartford prevailed, and they went through it.
Do you have any of this on tape anymore?
There was no tape.
It was all live and no tape.
No tape and no film. Broadcast TV had never been commensurate with the public's airwaves. The airwaves belong to the public. And the FCC, through its greed and avarice and acquisitiveness, let the broadcast corporations, you, Mr. Paley, you, General Sarnoff, you took the public's airways and you made billions on it. And that was not right. And so cable TV came along with a multiple channel capacity. Thank God that the Congress of the United States ruled that the cable operators had to relegate a channel to the public. That was the beginning of PEG, Public Educational and Government Access.
The welfare department seems to have a stigma attached, and, and people are just too proud to ask for help.
Not me.
Marie, would you tell us?
A woman's place is all kinds of things. It's a collective of women, of 7 women and 7 kids living here together with the main purpose of keeping a retreat for women going.
How are you today?
I'm very fine. How are you?
Oh, good, thank you. It's a beautiful day.
Yes, indeed. It's delightful.
Would you tell us if you're depressed by New York City's finances?
I'm very depressed. I foresaw this. Anybody could see. Wastefulness, corruption.
Yes.
Are you nostalgic for anything, or what are you nostalgic for?
That's a very good question. You're really good. No, I'm just so happy now. I don't seem to want anything that came from the past. I don't want to seem to go back. You know, Thomas Wolfe wrote the book, You Can't Go Home Again. And you know, I told you about little Jimmy Talbot, 10 years old, and he came back to see me at 62. He was trying to go home again. And from his reports and from the things he told me, I could see that he found out you can go back, but you can't go home again. It's not there. It's not there anymore. And I don't know whether you've been around when somebody dies or not. What do the survivors do? They get a dumpster. And you see that person's life thrown into a dumpster. We are in the town of Ghent. We're going to the museum. It's the Glendora Franklin Public Access Pro Se Newspaper Museum. And there is a Glendora Franklin Living Trust that funds this museum in perpetuity, we hope. This was a beautiful speaker for a CD audio that I use when I videotape a chat with Glendora to have music in the background, and this just doesn't work anymore, so we bought my TV audience a new one, and it's beautiful. These things are so well designed and so intricately manufactured, I just can't throw it out. I've got out my duck boots, folks. And I was filing shoes. Goodbye, summer. Goodbye, fall. We'll see you in 2-3 months. This is my father and mother. These are the joke tellers. Great sense of humor. These are videotapes. You don't remember this, Victoria. It's before you were born. But videotapes used to be 2-inch. When videotape started out, that's all we had was 2-inch.
Wow.
And a half-hour reel spool weighed about 60 pounds. That's all we had. And then Sony came out with, or the Japanese, I don't know which, I think it was Sony, came out with a helical scan. And when you had the helical scan, the tape went around in a helix. Therefore, you didn't need this. And they came out with a Sony Portapack, which was a camera that weighed 8 pounds and a recorder that weighed 16 pounds. That made public access possible. Now, the museum has an index, and for every box, it gives the column. This happens to be column 1, and it gives the number of the rows, and then it tells you what's in the box. What would this be? This would be legal papers, folks. This is Cablevision. When I first started to sue Cablevision, I started suing Cablevision at a very early age.
When?
1993. And this is the story of Suzanne McCormick, whose husband died 18 years ago and left her $24 million, and she hasn't seen 1 penny of it. You want to know where it went? It went to Bankers Trust. It went to White and Case Law Firm. It went to the lawyers. This is how crooked the surrogate court is. And someday, it's a whole day to tell you how crooked the guardianship court is. And this Glendora versus Savarino for taking Glendora off of the air, to the TV rather. So goodbye, you crooked judges. We're going to church today and we will pray for you, that you will find your peace and happiness in your inner person. This is for you judges. Breathe on them breath of God, fill them with life anew, that they may love as thou dost love, and do what thou wouldst do. Breathe on them breath of God, till they are wholly thine, until their glows with thy spirit divine.
This is episode number 4000 of A Chat with Glendora. The show will feature some great old clips from the past, as well as some new behind-the-scenes footage. Plus, we'll find out some things about Glendora that you might not already know. Stay tuned.
Hi there, everybody. This is Glendora, A Chat with Glendora. And Andrew Hersman is helping me celebrate my 4,000th TV show on public access. In 1987, I got a call from the David Letterman show, and they'd heard about A Chat with Glendora on cable TV, and they invited me to be a guest on it.
Folks, please welcome the happiness lady, Glendora. Hi, Glendora. How are you? Pleasure to see you. Please have a seat. Now tell me about your personal recipe for happiness. You're known as the happiness lady,
Well,
is that what they say?
No.
What do they call you?
Glendora.
Yeah.
And what did you say your name was?
I'm Dave. That'll be my last night.
You are a very good interviewer.
Well, thank you.
And I'm going to recommend you for a raise.
Thank you.
The recipe for happiness, David, is that there's one thing in this world that you can do better than anybody else. And if you will go by yourself, you will find out what that is. And you will do it, and you'll be happy. Now, if you don't do it, David, it's going to nag at you every second of your life.
So you find out what it is that you're good at.
No, the one thing that you can do better than anybody else.
The one thing you can do better than anyone else, and you just concentrate on that.
Yes, you do.
And then that'll make you happy.
Well, sure, because you'll get everything you want.
Yeah.
The Cable Act of 1984 came out, Title 47, the United States Code, Section 521, et sequitur, the health and the welfare of the public. Congress called us an electronic soapbox. Congress was calling us a public forum. Public forums have a lot of power. Folks, they could just change 2 or 3 words in the public access law and it would be gone. So I thank you, Congress. I thank you, cable operators, that we have public access. It's a great, great, great phenomenon. It's true free speech. We are an electronic soapbox.
Hi, Glendora. Tom Gorgie here from Denver.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Well, I've had better days, to be honest with you.
Yeah, what was wrong with the conference?
Meetings today, and I have to call you because I don't have good news.
Oh, bad.
Yes. I have to call you to tell you that the executives in the company sat down and reviewed your program.
Uh-huh.
And I have to take it off the air.
Uh-huh. Why is that?
Well, what they're saying is that the public access is not really a place for someone to talk specifically about their individual difficulties with another party, and that the subject material is not pertinent to the general subscriber population of the system.
Apparently he doesn't know about censorship and about public access and how you can't rule on the content of a program unless it's obscene. Is he ever worried about lawsuits on the First Amendment, freedom of speech?
Cablevision is always worried about lawsuits, but
because this is a matter of civil rights. You just don't do things like that. It's bad enough to even question the freedom of expression. That's bad enough in itself. But to do it in such a sloppy way, this is totally unacceptable, and it's very dangerous. I strongly warn him, and this is a warning, I warn him to reconsider. As to how much time I'll give him to reverse it, and I do mean reverse it, because it's an outrageous thing to do.
Well, of course, after that, I went to the law libraries, and I started looking up the law. And it was overwhelming, but I certainly knew what my case was, that it was, at that time I wasn't knowledgeable enough to articulate it as editorial control. And back in those days, the FCC was a whole lot different than it is now, and a whole lot more competent. And I had the insight from above to call the FCC, and fortunately a young man answered, and I told him what they had done. And he says, look up the United States Code, Title 47, Section 521 et sec. He says, look up 531E. I went back to the library and I looked it up, and there articulated was everything I needed. No cable operator shall exercise editorial control over public access. And that's exactly what they had done, and I had the record. They took the program off of the TV out of editorial control.
So the oral argument for that, folks, is going to be before the United States Court of Appeals, 2nd Circuit, Foley Square, 17th floor. Come, you are invited. And you don't have to be invited. I don't know if you know, but the United States Court of Appeals is the highest court in the United States. It's the highest court in the United States. And you don't have to be invited. I don't know if you know, but the United States Court of Appeals is the highest court in the United States. And you don't have to be invited. Courts are a public process. Remember that. You walk into any court that you want, and you watch, and you listen, and you observe, and you find out what's being done wrong. The Westchester court ruled, and the only thing Cablevision's lawyer, Park Avenue lawyer, could say to Judge Silverman was, could we have 30 days? So they waited 30 days, they put the program back on the TV. This was a tremendous blow to Cablevision, because Cablevision was used to saying, I don't care what the law is, I'm going to do it anyhow. And it still is their attitude. But this time, they lost. When would this be? Maybe somewhere around 1955, 56. WRGB Schenectady, General Electric. I don't even think that looks like Glendora. Charles Elson was handsome. Hi, little TV guest. Now this is actual. This is Canaan, Connecticut. There's some little Glendora fans. And there's some little Glendora mateys that came down with her. I wonder if Jim Talbert's one of them. Isn't that endearing? Oh, what fun.
And I will be back in touch with you.
Yes, I think you would be doing the children a great service.
I just have a question for you. The name Glendora is quite unique. Were you ever on Channel 6, WRTB?
That's where it started.
Okay, well, you're talking to one of your avid viewers. I remember the show. I remember your outfit. I could see you just as if it were yesterday.
Oh, good.
Freddie Freihoffer show, and I have a squiggle from that.
Oh, that's marvelous.
As I sift through the collection of Glendora's artifacts, I realize that her 6-decade career as a media producer mirrors the changes not only in television technology, but in the structure of television ownership and distribution. In the 1950s and 60s, Glendora was a local broadcast TV star, but as the TV business became consolidated by large companies, access to channels and opportunities disappeared for local independent TV personalities. As more and more television content became nationally syndicated, by the 1970s, public access cable TV was the only avenue left for local voice.
Wednesday, April 16th, 10:33 p.m.
Yeah, hello. I saw your show on public access, and I must say it touched me deeply. I don't know what to say. You're just a wonderful human being. That's it. Thank you.
Hello, Glendora. We are watching a show on the Community Access TV network in Connecticut. An enjoyable program. Keep it up.
End of message.
I have spent half of my life going from one format to another. These are returns from my TV stations. Those will all be gone. You come back in 4 days, every one of those will be used up and gone out to a TV station again. This is one mailing of a chat with Glendora, probably for some month. Well, it would tell you. That's probably another question you have. Why not only do you spend your time and your ergs of energy, but why do you spend so much money? And this is only mailing. Give a picture. It goes from this DVD over.
Words of the prophets are written on the subway walls, in tenement halls, amongst the sound of silence.
So true.
I just handed them. Right there, Mr. Chef, over there by the pot.
Oh, yes, right here.
We're all going to have some delicious food and beverages, and we're going to have a great time.
And everybody's invited to speak, right?
Everybody is invited to speak.
Except you.
And
No, I can't speak. No.
we'd like to limit it, if we could, to
40.
10 to 12 minutes per speaker.
Oh, you're going to die right there on the
You
spot.
don't want to be the late Glendora, huh?
Hi, Glendora. It's Barbara Goldberg, and I was very happy to hear from you. But I was kind of upset by what you invited me to,
My
which
funeral.
was your funeral.
My funeral, March 6th.
I'm hoping that's another joke, or I'm not sure what to think. But I hope you're well, and please give me a call back and allay my worries.
And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then.
When Franklin went to heaven on the night of October the 18th, 2003, at exactly 8:10 p.m., his soul made the flight. He had asked me before, of course, to call all of his people. And so I started calling his people. And for some reason, I started enumerating them. 1, 2, 3. And I have done that ever since. The count of the telephone numbers that I have dialed since October 18th, 2003 is 19,000. Here are the Monday calls. Here's the Saturday calls that I would have been doing today. Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. And here are the TV stations. And here are calls that are way, can you read that, folks? Way ahead. I won't be doing those for a week or two. And then when those calls are all done, folks, I do the one-time only calls. And that's how I met Victoria. She was a one-time only call at one time. These are TV stations that carry Chat with Glendora. So we have to call them regularly and find out that they're not doing a thing, some of them. And these are the people that I've met here at church. Local folks. Well, we're going to the Women's Club of the St. Luke's Lutheran Church. Very sweet people who try to do all kinds of kind things all over the world. So we're going to the women's dinner, and I invited, I think, about 10 or 12 women. And the only two who came were Victoria Carezzi and Sarah Schubert.
We'd like to welcome you to the third annual, or sort of annual, women's dinner.
This is kolka. This is vegetarian turkey. And if they have meat, I'll have to have a substitute.
Which I'm sure there will be meat of some kind. Whoops. All right, how's that?
What? Oh, more.
More?
Yeah.
Can you see the name? Your mic is a
The men look nice. They're all dressed up. Yes. I love it. I love having the men wait on us. Hello.
Shall I toss?
When are you on Berkshire
When are you on?
Cable?
Every night.
Every night.
At what time and what channel? Channel 7. No, Channel 8 for 2 hours, 7 to 9 p.m., Monday through Friday.
You wear your hat.
Oh, yeah.
She always has a hat on.
Yeah,
It's the hats that throw me off. I have to be honest.
The hat threw you off?
Throw me off.
What's that mean, throw you off?
Turn you off? I'm not sure why you wear the hat all the time.
What's that?
I'm not sure why you wear a hat all the time.
My brains are cold and I have to keep them warm.
And it's the way she
That's
a good answer.
It makes people look at my hat instead of my face. How's that? No. Garçon. Could I see the head garçon, please? The head waiter?
Keeps the Emmanuel Lutheran Church going.
Oh, does she?
Yes, she
I
does.
still haven't found your station on TV.
Well, I'm pretty sure. Do you have Time Warner or do you
Yes, I have Time Warner.
8:30 p.m. Monday night, channel 23.
23?
Yeah, public access. 8:30 p.m.
8:30?
Yeah.
Oh, I tried at 8 o'clock.
Tell them about the Apple Festival.
Huh?
Tell them about the Apple Festival on September 27th.
Well, it's going to be held at the Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Stuyvesant Falls on Route 9, and the hours are from 9 to 3 on a Saturday morning. Is this going to be on TV?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. You make my day. Everybody's TV will be broke.
So there's 25, and now I've already made a mistake. There's another 25.
It'll be 26, and so on.
Well, you'll have to make it 25A, I think. Something like that.
Sure.
26, 27, 28. And see, all that's in here is just one DVD disc.
The one program I have to copy.
Yeah, this is the one show. And it's show number 5,472.28.
Every single one of those goes out every month.
Do you like doing this kind of work?
I prefer it over doing the work that a lot of my friends do, working at Hannaford, Dunkin' Donuts or such, just standing behind the counter or pushing carts around, yeah.
Well, not only that, he's his own, he's an independent
work on my own
contractor. He's got his own business.
We've been experimenting for more than 2 months now, maybe, with the different cameras that Glendora's picked up, which advertise to go straight to YouTube, but don't necessarily do as they're advertised. But my suggestion was simply to take the one camera I have that I use, that I know works, because these produce odd files that don't work. These produce proprietary files just for the software. My suggestion was that Glendora does her filming with that, does her video with that. You know, everything she does day to day, she can put it right in her pocket. And when I come around the one time of the week for our weekly meeting, she just hands me the little SD card that's in the camera. She has more than one, so she can just put another one in it and just go about videoing as she likes. I take the card, go back, stick it in the computer, load in all of the footage she's done, split them up in half hours, and those make dubs. Those go straight out to DVD. And then group them up again into hours and send those all off to YouTube.
Nice idea, isn't it? Well, I'll tell you. Who's going to do the titles? Now, Devin and I started out our relationship with the arrangement that Devin would do the titles. And he went away and he did them as a tryout, I think it was, and I was to pay him $100 a month to do the titles. But then, you know, I came to my senses. Devin can't write the titles. 100 Devins can't write the titles. The only one who can write the titles is Glendora. She's the author of the show. She's the only one who knows what she wants to say. How could Devin do it or anybody else do it? Public access is free speech. The video that I put out every month tells a story, a big story. But the titles are at least 25% more of that free speech. The titles tell a story. The titles say, sue judges when they break the law, and things like that.
I think anything that you would be doing with public access is done more so with the internet. And everyone can do their own, everyone can have their own public access. They can have their own website, they can have their own YouTube account, they can do their own thing. And it's a lot easier to do online, I think. Or maybe just easier to access even.
The problem there is that
there's billions of sites on the YouTube. You know, there's just so many things to see, right? On the. Let me ask you this: isn't it sad that there wasn't any only cable TV stations have had to do it? Said here are these highways.
And pay for access, we have the right to filter or censor or change what on the internet gets to you faster.
Providing easy to challenging hikes. A great place for mountain biking.
And then if we find out, I go out in the public, goes down, distribution.
Intellect, they're of a different orientation. How do you
I pay for company. All done, honey.
And then stop.
Specials, because you're tough.
We're buying for 40 people. No. But you had.
Ate a lot. How do most people react when you